Breaking news. Raiders making big moves. Wait. Did the Raiders just sign a future Hall of Fame cornerback? All right, I'm just messing with you. But Raiders Nation, get ready because there's some serious action happening. According to Ian Rappaport, the Raiders are adding strength to their defense. They're signing former Packers first-round cornerback Eric Stokes on a one-year, $4 million deal. And honestly, this is the kind of smart, high-value move we've been seeing from the Raiders this free agency. But before we dive deeper, hold on. If you're a true Raiders fan, then what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button. Smash that like button, and don't forget to press the bell icon so you never miss the latest Raiders updates. All right, now let's continue. We're only 2 days into free agency and the Raiders are playing it smart. No reckless spending, no over-the-top deals, just solid signings that make sense. Now, I know some of you are frustrated. Why aren't we going for big names? Why aren't we spending all our cap space? Listen, championship teams aren't built overnight. The Raiders are taking their time, getting value signings, and making sure every dollar is well spent. Even Tashin Reed explained on Twitter, the Raiders' slow start in free agency is because of the Geno Smith trade, which isn't official until tomorrow. Once that deal is done, things are going to move fast. Smart spending versus reckless spending. The Raiders' strategy. Look, you can't just throw money around and expect a championship team to magically come together. If the Raiders had matched the contracts of Robert Spillane, Trayvon Moehrig, Nate Hobbs, and Divine Diablo, they'd be way over the salary cap right now. That's not Pete Carroll's fault. It's simple. Other teams were willing to open their checkbooks and spend big. But here's the thing. Spending big doesn't always mean winning big. So far, I actually like what the Raiders have been doing in free agency. And now, with Eric Stokes joining the squad, it's another smart, calculated move. Who is Eric Stokes? A former first-round pick out of Georgia, Stokes had an impressive rookie season, flashing elite speed with a 4.29-second 40-yard dash at the combine. On top of that, he's shown solid coverage skills. But, let's be honest, things haven't been great for him lately. Injuries, inconsistencies, and a slow decline have kept him from reaching his full potential. Now, what does his signing mean for the Raiders? Most likely, he'll be in a rotation, competing with Jacorian Bennett for a starting job. Or maybe, depending on how the Raiders handle free agency and the draft, he ends up as a key depth piece. At worst, he becomes a special teams player, which, for the price they got him, isn't a bad deal at all. A fresh start in Las Vegas. Sometimes a change of scenery is all a player needs. And if there's one coach who knows how to develop cornerbacks, it's Pete Carroll. He has a reputation for taking raw talent and turning it into something special. So, while this might look like a low-risk, high-reward signing, it's got potential written all over it. At the end of the day, it's not about the name on the back of the jersey. It's about the team on the front. And in Pete Carroll's system, competition is everything. The best players will earn their spots, no matter their status or past performance. So, let's see what happens. Training camp will tell us everything we need to know. But one thing's for sure, the Raiders aren't just throwing money around. They're building something. The Raiders' plan. Competition and smart draft strategy. In Pete Carroll's system, there's only one rule. The best players step onto the field. No big names, no fancy titles. If Eric Stokes can prove himself in Las Vegas, he could very well be a starter this season. But nothing is guaranteed. The theme for the Raiders this year? Competition. With Stokes joining, the battle for the secondary just got more intense. Let's take a look at the cornerback room. Jacorian Bennett, Decamon Richardson, Caillou Blue, Kelly, Sam, Webb, Lonnie Johnson, and now, Eric Stokes. But let's be real, the Raiders aren't done yet. They still need more talent in the secondary, whether through free agency or the draft. There are still big names out there like Asante Samuel Jr. and Kendall Fuller that could shake things up if the Raiders make a move. Now, let's talk about the draft. The Raiders' compensatory picks for 2025 are in. According to reports, Las Vegas has been awarded 2 compensatory picks, both in the 6th round, 213 and 215 overall. This brings their total to 9 picks in the 2025 draft. And guess what? That's a great position to be in. With these picks, the Raiders have options. Do they stack up on defense? Do they grab another wide receiver? Do they take a chance on a quarterback, maybe even a running back? Or do they package some of these picks to move up or down in the draft? The possibilities are endless, and that's what makes this so exciting. One thing's for sure, this offseason isn't over. The Raiders are playing the long game, and every move counts. The Raiders' draft strategy and Maxx Crosby's excitement. All right, big decisions ahead for the Las Vegas Raiders. The NFL draft is coming, and the number 6 pick is a game changer. The team has to nail it, especially in the first 2 or 3 rounds if they want to turn things around this season. I know everyone's asking the same question. Who should the Raiders pick at number 6? With the Geno Smith trade locked in, the team has a lot of flexibility, and that's a huge advantage. But if it were up to me, I'd keep my options narrow and focused on 3 names. 1. Will Johnson, 2. Shedeur, Sanders, 3. TBD. Could it be a surprise move? Some fans might want Ashton Genty, but what do you think? Drop your thoughts in the comments. But hold up, there's more. Let's talk about Maxx Crosby's reaction to the Geno Smith signing, because this is gold. Max went wild when he heard the news. On his podcast, The Rush, Crosby shared how it all went down. He was on the phone with Geno, and the second he heard the words, "It's done, it's done, it's done. Zrenia, on потерял его." He literally started yelling at his phone. Even his wife, Ella, jumped in, screaming in excitement. And guess what? She even saw Geno before anyone else. First-class treatment, huh? Crosby finally met Geno in person today, and you could tell. The guy is fired up. Between doing his physicals and paperwork, he took the time to chop it up with Max, and the energy was electric. Here's why this matters. The Geno Smith deal doesn't just bring a solid quarterback, it gives the Raiders much-needed flexibility heading into the draft. They don't have to panic pick a quarterback at number 6. Instead, they can focus on building a complete team. And that's what makes this offseason so exciting. Geno Smith's arrival and smart moves in free agency. All right, let's talk facts. Geno Smith is a winner. The guy proved himself in Seattle, led them to 10 wins last season, and played some of his best football when it mattered most. And now, he's a Raider. And let's not forget, this is a quarterback who was doubted, written off, but he never wrote back. That kind of grit, hunger, and attitude is exactly what Las Vegas needs. But here's what I love most. Maxx Crosby is fired up. Seriously, has this guy ever not been excited? But that's what you want from a leader. Crosby doesn't just hype up moves for the sake of it, he sees the vision. And honestly, so do I. This offseason feels different from past years. Yes, I've been optimistic before, whether it was about Garoppolo or other signings in past seasons, but this time, there's a clear strategy. Geno Smith's arrival gives the Raiders control of their draft board. They're not scrambling to find a quarterback. Instead, they can build the best possible team around him. The Raiders are playing it smart in free agency. I know some fans were panicking about how quiet free agency has been. But listen, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday are the real days to watch. That's when teams see where the money lands and start making their big moves. And if you really look at it, the Raiders have been playing chess, not checkers. Instead of overspending, they're making calculated moves and finding value. Robert Spillane left. They signed Eland and Roberts for cheaper. Trayvon Moehrig gone. Boom. Jeremy Chinn steps in. Nate Hobbs moves on. No problem. Lonnie Johnson and Eric Stokes join the squad. On top of that, the Raiders brought back key guys like Malcolm Kuntze, Adam Butler, and Isaiah Pola-Mao. They're locking in a core and filling gaps the right way. The Geno Smith trade was a game changer. Because the Raiders handled their QB situation early, they're not out here scrambling like other teams still trying to find their guy. They're sitting back, playing it smart, and letting free agency come to them. I get it. Raider fans aren't used to this. Usually we see the team swing big in free agency, throwing money at every flashy player. But this time, they're building something sustainable. I know it sounds cliché, but trust the process.